Well, hello, hello. How you doing today?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Oh, great. It's great to see you again, virtually this time. But we're always happy to have you on because that means you have something good for us. And this one's so good, and your role is so good in it. So when you read something like this, you must just think, "Oh, I got to do this, right?"
Yeah, exactly what happened. Yeah, I read it early on. I think I was one of the first people to read it, and
Mhm.
one of the first actors that Francis, and just loved it. Did not know what was going to happen, which I
Yeah.
think is when I know the script when I think I know what's going to happen, and then 10 pages later something totally different happens, and then 10 pages later something else I didn't expect happens, and I'm reading it kind of like I'm reading a novel. I can't wait to get to the next page. And that happened with Barbarian, and that happened with this script. And I was like, once I spoke to Francis, I was on board.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you know, most movies aren't as fun to make as we'd like to grow up thinking that they are. But this one actually looked like it was a pretty fun set, and I think you and Jim got along pretty well too, right?
Oh yeah, loved. I mean, I've been a hero. Jim's been a hero of mine for some time. I think he's just an incredible filmmaker and actor,
Mhm.
and all round voice for independent filmmaking, which is so
Yeah.
important to have.
Mhm.
I just adore the guy. And he was so important to this film in a lot of ways.
Mhm.
And we had, it's funny. It's like there's independent films that you got to enjoy making
Yeah.
movies to make them because you're not getting paid. I think I lost money on the film, to be honest with you. I think by the time I got funding, um, but you got to do it because you love making films
Mhm.
and you love making good films, taking risks. And there's no fancy trailers or fancy this
Mhm.
or big spreads at lunch, or any of that kind of nonsense. I mean, you're literally just mucking in and making a movie together because you love making movies, and everybody on board on this film was on board with that. I mean, they were all people there because they wanted to be there and they wanted to make the film, and it made the experience incredible, really. I mean, just one of my all-time favorite experiences making a film um,
Yeah.
with so it was great. I mean, but that doesn't always mean it's a good film. You can have
Mhm.
great experiences with great scripts and great directors, and unfortunately, sometimes it just doesn't work out for whatever reason. And what's so good about this is that it's done
Mhm.
incredibly well by winning Best Film at Sitges
Yeah.
Film Festival in Spain, big one. Not to mention a couple other film festivals it's won at, and 100% on Rotten Tomatoes, and
Mhm.
incredible word of mouth. And personally, I saw it. I got to watch it
Yeah.
um, months ago, and just was so proud of it as a film.
Mhm. Absolutely. And was there a particular day or scene or time that kind of stood out to you where you're kind of looking around going, "Oh, I'll always remember this day. This was cool."
I think we shot there was a scene where I I basically lay down the law. I
Mhm.
pull him over, Jocelyn
Yeah.
and Jim, and then I kind of sit at the booth, and there's a monologue I have to deliver.
Yeah.
And Francis had this idea that he really do this moving shot through it, and I was like, "Ah, is it gonna work?" I was, especially with my performance being so kind of understated, I was like, and I just trusted Francis, and then we shot it. It took a while because of the technicalities of that shot, uh, but we nailed it, and then he showed it to me, maybe the next day, or maybe even then, I can't remember. But I thought that's that's genius, just the
Mhm.
way he had thought that through and do that, and it was just so much fun doing that. Um, but he had so many things like that. Like every day was just a blast with the different kind of
Mhm.
setups we were doing and the different and just working with so many, like Jocelyn, I've worked with before. I
Yeah.
love her. I love her. She's such a great actor. Um, vibing with Nick, plays
Mhm.
Travis, because two of us just got so well together. I mean, I can't even, I mean, I
Yeah.
can literally sit and keep telling you all the great times we had making it. But the bottom line is it worked out, which is what I love. It's when you watch the film and you think, oh, I've had the experience where I watched it and got, it's not quite as good as it was when we made it. Doesn't feel, and this one I didn't have that experience. I watched, I was like, that's
Mhm.
better than I imagined it was going to be. I really
Yeah.
dug it. And the biggest thing, 21-year-old watched it with me. And he's the worst critic of all. I mean, that
Oh,
guy, I
that's
mean, I
huge.
love him. He's been like, but he's grown up with me as an actor and nothing really impresses him. He's just like, it's just a dull job dad does. And he texted me that he said he loved it then, but he did the actually texted me the next day to say how much he loved the film and that I promise you, that's about the best praise at all because I don't think he's ever done that before.
Yeah. And you're going, come on, Game of Thrones, Rob Zombie? No, no. But hey, that's good praise for this one, right?
Rob Zombie did. He went to the premiere of Three from Hell in London,
Yeah.
and that was Rob Zombie's up there too. This Game of Thrones now. I don't think they've ever watched it. Either of my any of my boys.
Yeah. That's funny. Well, people have been looking up to you for years and going, "Now, what a great job! I'd love to do something like this." And as it's not the easiest job in the world, and can be very difficult. But people still want to do it. So, what kind of advice would you offer to somebody that wants to do what you do, wants to follow in your footsteps?
Um, it's not, it's not the hardest job in the world, that's for sure. I know people with a lot. The
Yeah.
hardest part of the job is dealing with the uncertainty of it. That's the hard part. The actual acting and the whatnot. I mean, as long as you learn and you work at it and you try and get better all the time as an actor, that's actually the fun part. So the main thing is just dealing with uncertainty and dealing with the ups and downs of the business, dealing with things like making a film and feeling like it's going to be a good one and it not, or making a film and then it is a good one, but it doesn't get seen or not getting the job and all the millions of things. I think it's finding ways to deal with that is really important. I meditate a lot. I've meditated for 30 odd years. I do a lot of yoga.
Mhm.
I have a family and I enjoy time with them. And, that's the stuff I think the more you focus on that stuff, and you obviously have to work on being a good actor, do classes and all those things, but that stuff's easier. That stuff, it's more getting grounded and being a grounded human being that makes the long ride. I've been in it for 30 years, character actor for 30 years. I did 100 stuff, I guess. And
Mhm.
that ride is you gotta be grounded to do that ride. So
Oh yeah.
meditate is my usually number one thing I say when a
Yeah.
young actor comes up to me and goes, "What do I have to go meditate?"
Mm. Yeah. Which is not the usual answer, but it's a great one. I love that. That's so
Oh,
cool. I'm trying to get better at it myself. Yeah.
it helps.
Well,
It definitely helps.
yes. So my co-host Drew Pearson on this side of the pond on our American football caught the Hail Mary, went in the Hall of Fame. We're so proud of him, and he wanted me to make sure that I asked you today your Hail Mary moment. So that moment in your life or career where you just had to go for it and it worked out for you. What do you suppose that was for you?
Oh, in my career,
Yeah.
God, I mean, I've, I think probably when one of the things was when I split up with my wife like a long
Yeah.
time back and I moved to LA for a little while because I had to I had to basically there was no work going on in Europe, so where I live
Mhm.
normally in London. And so I thought I could go to LA for a bit. Went to LA. My first audition was for a movie called Halloween 2, directed by some guy named Rob Zombie, who I'd like thought was some rock star. I didn't know he made movies. I
Mhm.
went in, did the audition, got the part. Um, and proceeded to do four more movies with Rob, some of which have been
Mhm.
like, some of the best roles that I've been given. And that's probably the Hail Mary was deciding to get on a plane and move my whole life to Los Angeles and
Yeah.
do that. And then of course, a couple years later, I moved to London and that's where I live now. But that was probably one of them. And then another quick one, just a Hail Mary moment. I did a
Yeah.
movie called Munich with Steven Spielberg, and I have one
Yes.
whole scene. And in that scene, was incredible. Like he's an amazing director, obviously, but his way of looking at, I mean, it's like he had this crazy shot, right? That was like went on for like 20, I don't know what it was, but it involved the camera going all over the place and all the actors, pretty much all the leads of the film are in this scene, this one long shot, and it ends on me pretty much, right? And I had one
Hmm.
line to deliver or something. For sure, no more than that. And then the first take, he did it, and it was like, I got the line right, but then Spielberg comes over and he's like, oh, maybe not so, don't be so drunk. I think my character is drunk. They're like CIA
Yeah.
agents and they're pretending to be drunk. He's like, don't make the character. I was like, oh my God, Steven Spielberg's giving me a note. I mean, I didn't do it,
Yeah.
take. I mean, it's like a 10-minute take. And I ruined it because I was too over the top. I'm like ready for literally, I want the floor to open up and for me to sink into it because I'm thinking, I don't know what I'm doing. I can't act. So, we set up to do the shot again. Like I said, it's 10 minutes going to land on me. At that moment, I just went, dear God, please just help me get this right. I just literally gave in. I literally just let go. I let
Mm-hmm.
go. I can't, meditation helps, I think. And then it came around, boom, landed on me. He was happy. That was it. But I think there was a moment there where I just felt like the earth to open up and swallow me because, the greatest, most famous director in the world is more or less said I've ruined his 10-minute shot because I overacted. But luckily, I survived it.
Oh man. Well,
There you
is there
go.
something maybe in meditation that or otherwise that you keep in mind that kind of keeps you on that right path even when things are tough?
Not really. I just regularly do it, in the morning, in
Yeah.
the afternoon, and there's so many different ways, and a lot of times right before every single time I do a take, I'll just give a little, I let go. I just let go and just let it. I think it's really important to do that. And
Yeah.
with this film last was like I had to really underplay. When it's very
Mhm.
scary to not over to like just do nothing but trust the thinking that's going on in your head, the character you've created. Just trust it's there, not add a little bit to it. Don't overact. Just don't. I wanted it to be as still a character as possible.
Yeah.
And you have to trust your director to do that. And I trusted Francis because,
Mhm.
he needs to tell me if it's too, it could be like you could be so still that no, you just don't vanish. I thought it's going to be, no one's going to even, the character is just going to vanish. No one's going to even have
Mhm.
any idea. Um, you know, who he is because I underacted, shall we say. And I just trusted Francis would be that. I kept talking to him about it. We kept, and it was, that was the same thing. It was just like a stillness, just trusting the director. And every take, I would just go, I don't need to do anything. Just be still. Just keep it. Um, and that's what's terrifying. And I was, Francis is such a good director that he was there for that. I could trust him to allow me to do that. And I think it paid off. When I saw the film, I was like, wow. I think the first time I
Yeah.
saw a cut of it, I was like, oh, I was on a little computer screen at Francis' house, and I was like, Francis, I don't know. And then I actually saw the finished film. I'm like, oh, you were right all along.
Yeah, I sure was because it's such a good movie. We can't wait for everybody else to see it. We're gonna tell everyone to check it out. Really appreciate your time today, and always love talking to you. And looking forward to talking again sometime soon.
Yeah, man. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. All right, bye bye.